Marifat School presents The Conference of the Plants. Written by Reza Nazami. Chapter 22. Choosing a Wise Guide.
Previously on. In the previous chapter, Date Palm wished to be like Walnut Tree, full of wisdom and abundant fruit. Walnut explained that wisdom is a divine gift requiring effort, patience, and worthiness. He distinguished between acquired abilities, which come through effort, and divine gifts, which are granted only to the truly deserving. He advised Date Palm to serve selflessly, follow the law of love, and seize every opportunity for virtue, as true virtues remain while worldly achievements fade. He also warned against relying solely on hope, as gaining worthiness can take ages, leading to despair if not accompanied by effort. Now, let's continue with Chapter 22, Choosing a Wise Guide.
Morning arrived cold and rainy, feeling more like evening than the start of a new day. By nightfall, the wind had grown into a violent storm. A small tomato plant, struggling against the storm's harsh gusts, cried out,
"Why should such dreadful winds sweep through this beautiful garden? Why doesn't the gardener protect us from these attacks? Is he not our guardian and caretaker? If he truly loves us, how can he remain silent in the face of such cruelty? Could it be that he takes pleasure in our suffering?"
Young eggplant, growing beside tomato plant, became anxious upon hearing his words and asked,
"Tomato plant, do you know how to survive this storm? Is there a way to escape it?"
From above, Walnut called out,
"My dear friends, do not fear the storm. The wind may push you, but it cannot break you. Be patient, the storms will pass. Endure, for resilience will be your strength, and a precious treasure for the growth of your soul."
Tomato, unable to be patient, complained,
"But I've just begun to grow. My fragile body can't withstand this storm. I don't know how to endure these attacks."
At that moment, young Date turned to Walnut and said,
Walnut, I do not fear the storm, even if the world crumbles before my eyes. If you say there is no reason to fear, not a trace of dread will remain in my heart. Your words alone give me certainty.
With 200 years of wisdom and having endured countless storms, Walnut called out,
Do not resist the wind or stand rigid against it. Be flexible, and when necessary, turn with it to avoid harm. Remember, this turning is only temporary, and you will return to your center. The key is knowing when, how, and to what extent to bend. Always find your center and stay grounded. Through all these storms and fierce winds, I will be with you.
Eggplant, trembling with fear, sought a solution from Tomato in desperation. Overwhelmed by the storm and having lost faith in Walnut, Tomato felt a deep sense of hopelessness. He looked at Eggplant and said,
"I don't believe Walnut's guidance will help us. From the sound of his cries, it's clear that he's just as frightened and may not survive. If you listen, you can hear the anxiety in his voice, filled with worry and fear."
Eggplant, terrified by Tomato's words, replied,
"You're right, dear Tomato. I'm truly lucky to have someone as compassionate as you by my side."
Tomato, pleased by Eggplant's praise, took a deep breath and said,
"I know Walnut well. He's terrified of the wind and rain. I remember a storm from when I was younger. He was so scared, shouting in fear nonstop. Though I couldn't see him clearly in the storm, his terror was undeniable, and I could feel it clearly.
Eggplant asked in surprise.
How strange. Why do all the garden plants admire this fearful tree so much?
Tomato smirked.
I truly don't understand either. Perhaps they follow Walnut out of ignorance, or maybe they fear his wrath.
Unable to bear the weight of her emotions, Eggplant began to cry and said,
Why is this world so harsh and uncertain? Why is there no kind and powerful guide to lead us toward the light? Why do the sun and the gardener not care for this garden? Have we not always spoken of their mercy and compassion? Then why have they turned their backs on us?
Seeing Eggplant's cries, Tomato was filled with sorrow and began to weep too. Date, who had remained quiet until then, finally broke her silence and, with frustration, said to Eggplant,
What are you talking about, Eggplant? Have you lost your mind?
Before Date could finish her sentence, she noticed Walnut listening with serene composure. Ashamed to speak in anger before him, she stopped mid-sentence and fell silent. Stillness settled over them as each plant withdrew into its own thoughts. After a long, harsh night, a peaceful morning finally dawned. Once again, the sun rose, spreading its light and warmth across the garden. Its gentle glow restored a sense of security and joy, filling the space with peace once more. Having struggled through the long night to contain her anger, Date turned to Walnut with heartfelt gratitude.
I knew you would guide us through the storm. Deep down, I have always felt that your words are sincere and true.
Eggplant and Tomato woke up feeling a strange dizziness. Tomato groaned.
I think it's morning. Thank goodness the dreadful storm is finally over, but I feel lightheaded.
Eggplant sighed.
What a disaster. All my leaves have turned yellow and dried up.
Tears streaming down, Tomato added.
I've lost all my fruits too. It's so painful.
Eggplant, suddenly remembering his fruits, looked at them in fear and cried out to the sky. He realized that his once vibrant purple fruits had turned black. Suddenly, Walnut's loud voice drew everyone's attention.
My dear ones, we've all endured a difficult night, but as you can see, we made it through together, side by side. I've faced many such nights and know well how to survive hardships like these.
At that moment, Eggplant looked at Tomato and, with a touch of sarcasm, said,
It seems Walnut has completely forgotten how terrified and distressed he was last night. I believe he's entirely forgotten his own cries.
Frustrated by the accusations and disrespect, Date turned to Walnut and said,
Dear Walnut, why do they act this way? Why don't they trust your wisdom and guidance? My heart is heavy with this injustice, and I don't understand why you remain silent in the face of it.
With a gentle smile, Walnut asked,
Tell me, Date, do you still see me as your elder and guide?
Confused and anxious, Date replied,
What kind of question is that, dear Walnut? I've never been more satisfied with any choice. Not even death could take your love from my heart.
Walnut then asked,
What's wrong with a plant choosing another guide?
Date replied,
There is nothing wrong with that. Everyone is free to choose their path and companion with their own wisdom.
Walnut said.
So Eggplant has chosen Tomato as his guide, and he is free to make that choice. Therefore, you should respect his decision.
Date, feeling a mix of shame and frustration, replied.
Yes, he is free to choose Tomato or anyone else, but...
At that moment, Date realized her own words and fell silent. Walnut continued.
Each of us sees the world through our own eyes and understands it through our own perceptions. When we choose someone as our guide, their perceptions naturally influence ours. The assumption is that our guide is wiser, more knowledgeable, and better prepared to handle the obstacles along the way. Now, Eggplant believes that Tomato is wiser than he is, so he has accepted that by following Tomato, and he will share in the consequences of his actions.
Suddenly, Eggplant's voice rose in anger, and he exclaimed,
What are you talking about, Walnut? Why speak such falsehoods? I never chose Tomato as my guide, much less would I agree to share in the consequences of his actions.
Walnut calmly turned toward Eggplant and said,
Good morning, my dear Eggplant. I hope your day is going well. Would you like me to explain further what you just heard?
Eggplant, feeling a bit calmer, nodded in agreement. Walnut continued.
Each of us views the events of this world through our own perspective. Imagine a bird in flight, for example. One might say it's escaping a predator. Another might think it's seeking its mate, while someone else might believe it's gathering food for its young. Any of these assumptions could be true, or perhaps none of them are. Uncovering the hidden truth behind even the simplest of events can be more complex than we realize. Last night, you witnessed a reality and then turned to Tomato to uncover the hidden truth behind it. In doing so, you let his perception shape your own. Isn't that so?
Eggplant replied helplessly.
You are right.
Walnut continued.
By trusting Tomato's perception over your own, you denied yourself the chance to reflect. In that moment, you chose him as your guide.
Eggplant said,
You are right, Walnut. I enjoy hearing others' opinions and learning from their experiences. But I don't understand what's wrong with that.
Walnut said.
If you choose a guide with greater wisdom, it will greatly benefit you. But if you constantly follow others' opinions, especially those driven by emotion rather than reason, you'll never grow. You'll be carried away by every passing breeze. If you haven't chosen a guide to support you in difficult times, then at least trust your own perception.
Eggplant asked.
Why should I trust my own perception? What if my understanding is just as flawed as everyone else's?
Walnut said.
When you rely on your own wisdom, each moment brings a new experience, and with it, you will gradually grow. Even if your perception is wrong, you will eventually understand and correct it. But if you blindly follow others, you will never grow and will always fall victim to their mistakes.
Walnut paused for a moment before continuing.
Let me ask you something, dear Eggplant. Do you think these storms could ever bring me down?
Eggplant looked Walnut head to toe, captivated by his towering form. After a few moments, he said,
Now that I see your tall stature, strong body, and deep roots, I doubt any storm could bring you down. But after hearing Tomato's words last night, I almost began to believe that not only do you lack the strength to face a storm, but you are also quite fearful.
Walnut said,
Have you noticed how you became a victim of Tomato's view? Wouldn't it have been better let your own wisdom grow, rather than blindly following others? If you had done so, you would have gained a solid certainty, like a tree strong and unmoving in the face of any wind.
Eggplant, deep in thought, asked,
Oh, Walnut, how can I improve my level of perception?
Walnut replied,
By choosing a wise and prudent guide who will show you the way and lead you until you reach a certain level of wisdom.
Eggplant replied,
Now that I reflect on the situation carefully, I realize that last night a great fear overtook me, and I saw everything through the lens of that fear. I deeply regret my actions, and I am fully willing to make things right. Please, Walnut, tell me, how can I make amends for the wrong I've done to you?
Walnut laughed and said,
There is no need to make amends for me. You haven't harmed me at all. You've harmed yourself. So focus on making things right for yourself.
Then Walnut sighed deeply and said,
I have been here for years, always ready to help. Every call from me will be answered willingly, and every hand extended to me will be met with love and affection. Yet many have neither seen nor heard me. They denied me and held on to that denial. They chose the angriest, the proudest, and the most hopeless as their guides. Even after repeatedly suffering from poor choices, they never learned to see truth from illusion or sought my wisdom. It's a pity they never trusted me or saw me as an ally, for if they had, they would have known the depth of love I hold for them, and how to the very limits of my being I long to save them.